You're listening to The Power of Sound on Boombox Music Talk. Boombox, deconstructing Cowboy Bebop, and go.
It was so good. I guess that's what happens when you have 2 years country music and a dude that knows how to dance.
Welcome to Boombox Music Talk. I'm Mark.
And I'm Krish.
And today on The Power of Sound, we are deconstructing the iconic theme song by renowned composer Yoko Kanno, I think is how you say it, from the hugely popular show
Hugely
Cowboy
popular.
Bebop. Yeah, right?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's down.
It's the talk of all of our 6 degrees.
I love that anime is starting to get some notoriety here in the States finally. You know, people... I mean, like, why did it take so long to realize it's just another art form? Like, it's so dumb. Like,
well, I think
we had Looney Tunes in that style was like, that's what people thought animation was in America for so long.
Yeah, it was. And, well, it wasn't, but that was the perception.
Right.
And,
it was
which
here.
is unfortunate. Yes. Unfortunate because if you focus on just the art, then maybe it could be perceived that way. But if you consider the plot and the writing and the stories, there's so much unique depth to, you know, the good ones. Obviously, they're
the good ones. The ones I'm thinking of are.
The ones I'm thinking of.
No, well, but again, it's a variety, though.
Yeah.
Right? So there's literally, it's not just it's not Looney Tunes.
Right.
It's
there's
like,
something for everyone, and it's not a generic thing that everyone is going to like. It's each unique version or story,
which is what is interesting about this topic today, that partly why I thought it would be fun to hop on and talk about it is the theme song is very jazzy, right?
Yes.
And to me, we even joked about it on the episode with Nate Nash about there being 5,000 different genre categories, right?
Yes.
And you and I talk about we love all kinds of different styles. And
try to break it down, and it's hard.
But even still, I limited jazz to a specific kind of sound of what I knew jazz to be.
Yeah.
And that wasn't fair either.
Well, it was a limited
there's a lot of variety of jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz music has this kind of unique mystique among musicians. To classical musicians and rock guitarists alike, it can seem like this complex, otherworldly art form that breaks all the rules you've learned so far about music. I'm Dean DeMarzo from Paul Effman Music, and I want to demystify some of the stuff around jazz. Jazz can mean a lot of different things to different people because there are just so many subgenres. The first thing that comes to mind when I say jazz is probably the big band swing of the 30s or the bebop of the 40s, but jazz is so much more than that. There's Latin jazz like the bossa nova and the samba. And the jazz fusion of the 80s. And there's all kinds of crazy new subgenres coming out literally every day.
Big time.
Well, and I don't feel like it was very popular, or at least we weren't exposed to the popular avenues, jazzy avenues that we could have learned to appreciate that, you know. So we were kind of late bloomers, or at least
all we got was the Looney Tunes. So
yeah.
So why would we think there'd be anything different?
Right. And it's quirky and goofy.
All we
and
hear
great.
is that jazz, so that's it. Sorry, what?
No, I was just gonna say that I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Well, you're talking about the different styles.
Oh, yes, that we weren't exposed to those different nuances and different styles. What we had been exposed to was quirky, and goofy, and we were like,
I mean, just play the right notes.
So hearing it in a much bigger and also different type or different style of jazz.
Yeah.
It's not a
tumor.
a sound. It's not a static sound. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very broad type of sound.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot with it. It's versatile. You can, it's very different. But it is, at least what I've been exposed to, it's fun in all different kinds of ways, depending upon what, style or what way it's applied.
Well, I think you had a really good point about it being it's like an importer exporter issue too. Like growing up in Texas, in the United States, we didn't have, it was the Art Vandelay of it from Seinfeld, right?
Yeah, because Art and I were getting into this whole thing about his business. He's an importer-exporter. Yeah. George felt that I was too adamant in my stand that Art should focus on the exporting and forget about the importing.
Wait a minute, I thought that Art wanted to give up the exporting.
What did I say?
We didn't have anime
I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
or jazz.
And we didn't have an outlet anyway. We didn't have a radio station. We didn't have, much exposure to culture that involved jazz. So, what we heard.
Again, though, still, what's funny about what I just said, what we're talking about right here, about that being exposed to it, not being around, it still was around. Maybe just you and I weren't, because Stacy talked about his dad being a band conductor and being in a band, and Kirk talked about his grandfather and them being real into swing. And that was the thing.
Swing.
They danced a lot.
Yeah.
So obviously it was around. Maybe we just didn't have the exposure, because I wouldn't have called that jazz though before.
Yeah.
Swing to me, I wouldn't have called it jazz, but I think it technically is kind of. It's all
it is.
wrapped up
I
in
think
the jazz.
it is. It's. I think it's bass on, and I always literally just called it swing.
Yeah.
Like I never.
Swing's
Same
so
thing.
good. I remember discovering it though, man.
So
Zoot
fun.
Riot, Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
I know.
Who's that whispering in the trees? It's two cities and they're only pipes and chains and swinging hands. Who's your daddy? Yes, I am. That cat came to play. Now you can't run fast enough. You best stay away when the pushers come to shove. Zoot, zoot, riot. Throw back a bottle of beer. Zoot, zoot, riot. I'm gonna look home through your cold black hair.
I wish that's one of the types of dancing I kind of wish that I had,
We're not discovering it with him, but when it made a comeback, right?
Yep. I kind of wish I had learned to dance, swing dance.
I always wanted to learn how to swing dance.
It was
I think
so much fun.
We probably could have done it when we were, not when we were human. Now we're, over 40, you're not human anymore.
No.
You're a different hybrid.
You are. You start to become biomechanical at that point.
You know what 40 is? 40 is, hey, guess what? Now you can do 40% less shit that you used to be able to do.
Yeah. So
just
true.
Decrease all
and
of a
it
sudden.
happens overnight, too. Yeah. You
It's
wake
not
up and you're like, what the fuck happened to me?
You don't go from 100 down
Did
to
somebody
60.
hit me with a truck?
What happened to 90, 80, and 70?
Yeah, exactly.
I went from hardcore to no core.
Yeah, it's true.
I miss parkour altogether.
Okay, we all go together or we go one at a time.
Here it is. Truck to refrigerators to dumpster, 360 spin onto the palace, backflip gainer into the trash can.
Yeah.
Hardcore, parkour! Parkour! I'm right behind you, Andy! Come on! Yeah! Parkour.
Oh man, that would have been so much fun too, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But the closest experience that I had to swing dancing was I went to a country club one night and like with some girlfriends, and like a country western club, I guess I should say, not like a country club.
Yeah.
So this kind of dorky guy asked me to dance. It was pretty adorable, really. So I told him, I was like, okay, look, well, I just got here, and so I'm going to hang with my girlfriends for a bit. I'm going to have a couple beers because I need to loosen up.
Yes.
And so anyway, I did go. He didn't believe me, actually, at first. He was like, yeah. And I'm like, no, really, I'll come find you. I promise. As soon as I finish my second beer. Second beer, that's the loosen up point. At least, I'm not buzzing, but I'm just like not wigging either.
Yeah, right.
So, because I'm an introvert. So, anyway, so I go back to him and I'm like, hey, so is the offer still up for a dance, And
you're like, I need to be somewhere in between wigging and buzzing. To go dance.
Well, I think normal people call that normal.
Like Alan Watts, what does he call them? Prickly. What does he call them? Like the people in the world, they're like squishy and prickly. Oh,
I haven't heard that, but I would love to hear it. I can't wait till you insert that clip.
Insert clip here.
Cut.
There are basically two kinds of philosophy. One's called prickles, the other's called goo. And prickly people are precise, rigorous, logical. They like everything chopped up and clear. Goo people like it vague. And they're always arguing with each other. But what they don't realize is that neither one can take his position without the other person. Because you wouldn't know you advocated prickles unless there was somebody else advocating goo. You wouldn't know what a prickle was unless you knew what goo was. Because life is not either prickles or goo, it's gooey prickles and prickly goo. And they go together like back and front, male and female. And that's the answer to philosophy.
So anyway, he was like, yeah, he was super enthusiastic about it. And I was like, what am I getting myself into, right? This guy had been trained in country, he had taken classes, and done a professional, tour. I had no idea. Okay, and I don't dance, I am not trained.
Yeah.
I have a very, very...
yada, yada, yada. I broke my leg.
Thankfully not, because I think I wore reasonable shoes that day. But anyway, so I have a hard time with dancing in general.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
When it's couple dancing, because I have a hard time letting the other person lead.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it just feels weird to me. It feels unnatural. I guess I should just always be the leader. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's why I had to have the couple of beers, because I didn't want to look awkward out there like that, trying to fight the lead. So anyway, we're just going around and around, and I just went with it. I just totally relaxed, and I just let him do his thing, basically. And he was twirling me in circles and doing this whole number, and I was like, oh my god, that was so much fun. And he was like,
you're like, can we do it again? He's like, that'll be another quarter. Gotta ride the ride again.
Oh my gosh, so he was like...
all of a sudden you're 6 again. Twirl me, twirl me.
Twirl me, twirl me. I know, that's exactly I guess that's what happens when you have 2 beers, country music, and a dude that knows how to dance, because it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of a similar, though, obviously modified, but a similar style to swing dancing.
Swing dancing,
it was
right.
that
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
You know what I mean? And it was so much fun. And while I didn't have, I wasn't there looking for a date or anything, I told him that. I was like, look, that was a lot of fun. I might pursue, learning how to dance in the future like this, because it was very energetic. It was not, I don't just necessarily want to, I know how to waltz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But that's the same repetitive, when it's very specific music, and you know what I mean? Which is fine. I mean, I guess you can kind of waltz with anything, but it's the swing or, country dancing that's kind of based on that was different. It was refreshing, it was a different kind of. So I imagine swing would be a lot of fun. And that's one reason why when I had that experience and then learning more about swing and watching more of that, it was just the connections I made. It looked like it would be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.